V and Jennie were recently seen on a date during a recent live stream. We also have V making a comment about some recent posts that have come out with him in it, as well as some intimate edited pictures that people have been talking about. So hey Dumplings, it's Dave Disci. Let's get into it. The first story is kind of cool, and I definitely wanted to start out with this one. Some people have taken some old shirtless pictures that V has posted, and these are ones where it shows his shoulders. And people are taking these photos, running it through AI, and putting different hairstyles and looks on him. One particular photo that went viral this morning was one that was edited with blonde hair and kind of ashy blonde, and then wavy curls or whatever, and it looks like what a lot of other K-pop idols have had, and it looks like AI just smashed them together. But wow, when I say this looks so realistic, I cannot believe we're at the point in the world where things can look this realistic and it's not Photoshop. I mean, typically the community was so good at Photoshop anyway, but this completely probably took them 2 seconds to make as opposed to 3 days that they normally would probably take. However, people were very excited about these photos, as you can probably figure out with a lot of people talking about how it would be amazing if V decided to get this hairstyle, and they wanted to tag the hairstylist as well as V himself to let him know that maybe he should consider a look like this. And this is definitely potentially possible. Celebrities, especially K-pop stars, typically pick specific looks not based on what looks good, but based on what the era is going to consist of. So for example, if it's more of a pop type era, then he might go for a look. If it's more of a winter era, he might go for more natural hairstyles, things like that. And depending on what we get for the comeback, what look he might even go for. But if he doesn't go for this look, this doesn't mean that he won't go for it eventually. It means, we've definitely seen the members recreate fan edit hairstyles before. And I will say this, definitely this looks really good now. There's a lot of people who are saying things like he's fine the way he is, he shouldn't change and all that stuff. Of course, I think even the people who are making this edit agree that he doesn't need to change. But if a celebrity is going to change their hairstyle and try different looks, it could be beneficial to potentially see what it would look like with AI and then see what the general community might think of it. And in this case, it would probably be a really positive thought. And then some people are just mad that AI is being used. And I think in this case, it being used is a really positive way to envision something without having to really commit to it first, because he would have to go through the whole styling regimen, the whole haircut, the bleaching in order to look like this, only to realize that it might not look good on him, right? So this is a good way of testing that something might look good, because there was no edit made to his face, it was just the hair. And I'm wondering if AI can be used in this way for the general public. Next time we decide to go get a haircut, bring in a specific AI picture with the specific look that you want, and if the hairstyle messes up at that point, then it's not your fault. So I think this is what AI was intended to be used for, but of course it's controversial and people don't like it being used to alter pictures or used as Photoshop. And that has already been controversial for many years. And then people just aren't happy with the fact that it's integrated into entertainment. So we shall see what goes forward with AI and how it gets implemented into art even more in the future. I'm not so excited about that, obviously, but we shall see what happens. And V is in the media again recently, as some pictures from Celine came out, and people have been freaking out about it because the pictures look absolutely beautiful and perfectly encapsulates the moment in time we are experiencing right now, which is autumn. The color palettes of these photos are very soft, they're chilly but warm at the same time, and it looks just absolutely beautiful. He looks absolutely stunning, and it perfectly shows potentially the direction that the band is going to go in for this season, which is also really cool. We are also kind of seeing the leather tough guy look, we're seeing plaid, we're seeing fall colors. It's just really beautiful and a great palette to look at. I'm sure a lot of people would add these photos into their Pinterest boards as well. But V also made a comment on one of the photos that I believe he posted himself, and it was something along the lines to not forget that fall is here. It seems perhaps he was talking more to the world or to the planet, saying or asking them to not skip fall. It was reported that Korea is experiencing kind of a white fall, which is very annoying. And even just around a week ago or so, I believe places like Seoul had some snow and a lot of stuff during their fall. So it almost feels like Korea has skipped the season entirely and has just jumped right into the dead of winter. And fall is typically very romantic. It's supposed to be the time of year that people like to cuddle with each other. People like to look at the pretty colors. It's really one of the most vibrant seasons of the world. I would argue and say it's probably more vibrant than fall, or just as vibrant as spring, but maybe a different time. V obviously romanticizes the seasons, and for him, this is probably a little bit sad, right? And so he's saying, please don't continue skipping this season. season, and I agree. If it was that way here in America, where I'm from, then I definitely would be a little bit sad to know that I completely skipped a season, especially since here in New York, where I'm from, the predominant season that takes over is winter, and we get so little of the actual sunlight and color most of the year. So it's nice to have a season like that. It's quite surprising that New York is mostly winter and I was surprised about that until I really thought about it, and I was like, wait, feels like I experience more winter than summer. People were a little bit surprised by V's comment to the photo, but of course not in a bad way. They were just kind of looking into the weather in Korea right now and being very surprised that it is how it is. And the weather is definitely another conversation we can sit here and talk ad nauseum about, and how crazy the weather has been all around the world. I think it's good to enjoy the seasons as they come and perhaps try to romanticize the seasons as they come. And of course, definitely it ruins the vibe for the marketing efforts that the team at Celine was trying to make and trying to create a mood that feels like fall, and it jumped right into winter. I mean, if they wanted to pick maybe a correct mood, maybe they should have just tried to jump right into the dead of winter, and maybe that is something that marketing teams at different companies should take note of and always try to jump one season ahead going forward, because by the time everything gets released, it probably would be around that time anyway. Now, this is where the story gets a little bit interesting, because apparently JHope was on a live stream. People were zooming in behind JHope during his stream. As you can imagine, people in K-pop love doing that. And they noticed that there were 2 people sitting behind JHope during his stream. Now, I can't locate where this stream was posted or when he made this stream or if this was even a stream, but a lot of the comments and stuff have mentioned the stream, so I'm going to say that. And that wasn't the point of the stream. He wasn't trying to show that. He was just trying to chat. And people noticed that there were 2 people sitting behind JHope, almost in another section, and people immediately said this was V and Jennie chatting, potentially them on a date or something like that. Now, I suppose if you look at it from a distance, because you guys can't really see the guy's face, you can definitely assume that it is V. In fact, you can probably make that assumption about any K-pop idol, like take him for any K-pop idol, because you can't really see this person's face, and this person has a Korean style haircut, ones that probably were popularized by Korean idols. So seeing or thinking that V would have had this haircut, plus it's another Korean guy, those are not things that would be out of the norm. And especially since they're blurred out, you can't really see them. Like, not physically censored out, but just that they're far and they're blurry. So you can make those assumptions, right? That makes sense. Now, is it okay or logical to make those assumptions? No. In fact, I would urge people to definitely try not to make those assumptions. But one thing that I will say is that the woman that we see in the video definitely does not look like Jennie. In fact, you can see that that's not even her face. The woman is facing towards the camera, so you can kind of get a glimpse of her face, although again, she is a little blurred out too, but those aren't even Jennie's features. Chances are, if that is V, that is the guy, and the girl is likely the makeup artist or stylist that V might be having a conversation with. But also, they're so clearly in frame that my assumption is that they're not even anyone that's part of the group. They could just be staff, they could just be random strangers that are sitting at this cafe that JHope is streaming at, just completely irrelevant to the actual stream or any of the members. I see a lot of comments trying to debunk this by saying it's not the 2 of them. And again, I agree with that fully, but I would actually argue and try to go about this differently. Next time you see a post that maybe is clearly wrong, or you feel like it's clearly wrong, instead of just trying to say that it's not true, you're wrong, you're spreading misinformation, why don't you try to approach with what are your sources? Let me see where this stream comes from. Let me see where you got this information from. And I think it makes their argument less strong because they have to prove it. But then also, when they prove it or provide their sources, those sources are going to speak for themselves. People are going to click on it, they're going to realize, oh, this makes 0 sense, and then the actual initial allegation or rumor does not stand and probably won't even go viral because the source is right there. I would argue that that's the best approach. I don't know if it actually is. It's something that I haven't seen done before, and I'm wondering if it was seen done before, would that post have the same reaction to the general public? As in, would it still go viral? I don't think so. So let me know what you think. Let me know your thoughts. Make sure to check out Patreon. I'll leave a link at the top of the description. Thank you so much for this lovely comment right here. Love you. Bye.